The teenagers of today are entitled, privileged. They have no idea about working hard, struggling. I think that's a real problem.
You only live once. You really only live once. And for me, the wake-up moment for me is that you need to give back to yourself and you need to stop regularly to reset. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever you do, it's all about spending time with your kids. But when the chips are down and you don't know which way to turn, that's what makes or breaks a man, and that's what makes or breaks business, and that's what makes and breaks family.
There's rich in wealth and there's rich in life. Understand the two, yeah, and it'll change your life.
I don't want to be remembered for how much money I have in the bank, because no one gives a shit about that.
Yeah, if I took away all your money, where would your happiness be?
Welcome back to the Creative Freedom Podcast. Today we've got two special guests. They're personal friends of mine, friends for a long time now. Normally with our podcast, we start off with, what freedom means to you.
Let's start with you first.
Yeah. To me, I think now that I've had kids, just being able to have the ability to spend more time with them instead of the Monday to Friday 9 to 5 job that doesn't allow me to watch them grow up and be there for them.
Yeah. And what was it? I'm curious to know what your freedom was sort of before you had kids, possibly. Did you have?
Corporate world. I spent 18 years in corporate jobs in Australia, managing up to 40 people at one time, working long hours, getting, paid a salary so you don't get paid any extra, but doing, 50, 60 hours a week, managing people. One of the hardest jobs in the world is managing different personalities. Not having time outside of, 8 till 6 at night, to do anything for myself. It was probably a lot easier because it was just us. But now with school activities and basketball and everything else you have to do, I couldn't even see myself doing that old life.
Before you had the kid, did you, what was when you thought about freedom, or was your...
Traveling, spending money, having a house, but being able to finish work, go on a holiday and just have us and we weren't afraid to go anywhere. We traveled South America for 5 months. We were able to do things like that. Probably wouldn't do any of that right now in this day and age.
What about you, Dave? What's freedom mean for you?
Look, freedom for me is pretty simple. My kids mean the world to me. And for me now, the most important thing for me is having that time that I can spend with them. It doesn't matter what I achieve, how much money I make, wherever I've been. The most important thing for me now is being able to have whatever freedom I've got now to spend whatever time I've got with my kids. I know what it's like when parents have to work 9 to 5 and they don't have that opportunity to do that. That's what I want. I want to be able to have that freedom to spend as much time as I've got on this planet with those 2 kids.
Yeah, fantastic. Look, well, let's introduce you. Let's introduce yourself, right? What's your name? Where you from? Tell us a little bit about yourselves.
I'm Leigh. I'm 46, from Melbourne, originally from Sydney. David and I have been together for 18 years and married for 10 years. Have 2 kids. We run 3 businesses, all completely separate from each other. We have a house, a cat, and pretty much that's it. We're very, very busy. Having obviously 3 businesses. The 2 kids are both at school. They're private schools, so there's obviously a lot of pressure, expectation, activities, and all of that around that as well. So yeah, we've got pretty full on lifestyles.
Oh yeah, Dave. Introduce yourself. Is it a similar sort of?
So my name's David. I am 41 now. As Leigh mentioned, we've been together for a long time. We've got 2 kids together, run multiple businesses, and are very busy human beings. I spend most of my time juggling between family, businesses, and trying to build a life for all of us to live together. We have an amazing lifestyle we've been able to achieve together. The businesses are one thing, but having the support of someone behind you is even more important when you've got a wife that's got, they say, well, behind every great man's an even better woman. The reality is I've got one of those, and that's well and truly here at home and host here. I wouldn't be able to get as far as I have unless I had had the support at home, because you've got to have a balance of having someone at home who can support you at home as well as be the support in the business world. Business-wise, is fantastic for me, and for us. We've been able to achieve 3 amazing businesses, all in different industries. I run an industrial laundry for over 20 years. Pioneered the drug and alcohol testing industry with a drug testing business for 15 years. I own a consultancy business, which is Consult Me, which is about the growth in many different types of businesses, generalized around the industrial laundry sector. But yeah, all 3 different businesses, both all very successful, all completely different. But yeah, to be able to do all of that and still have time for kids, that has been the most important part of my life. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make and all that stuff, and it doesn't matter how much you work. I get to go on holidays like I am currently now. I'm overseas, I'm away, I'm in Bali, having a nice time, catching up with friends, seeing smiles on faces. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how much money you make or whatever you do. It's all about spending time with your kids.
Yeah, and so you're here in Bali at the moment, right? And we were speaking a little bit before about you wanting to move out here, right? What led you to that decision? What led you to that decision and that final sort of decision?
Look, I look at lifestyles, and lifestyles to me is when you get older and you live in an environment where you can't live your best lifestyle. I always dream and you always think about finding a place that you can live that ideal lifestyle. And to me, Bali to me is geographically close to where I'm from, Australia. And I can come over regularly in short stints and come over and travel up and back. But ideally, I want to build a place here and I want to live here for periods of my life. At some point, my kids will get older. I'll hopefully be able to give them that place where then they can have fun and have a holiday house and have a place that they can share special times with, just like I'm doing now. Because at the end of the day, that's what life's all about. So I love Bali. Bali to me, I've got a lot of great friends here. I've got a lot of lovely people that I've met over the years that I've really connected with. But I love the lifestyle, the healthiness, the smiles on people's faces, the weather, the food here is just some of the best in the world. I can't sing its praises anymore. And it's also affordable. You can really live different lifestyles. You can really live cheap, or you can really live the expensive lifestyle here. There's a great spectrum. And it's very safe, it's friendly, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about, I guess, your life in Melbourne, because you've been there for a long time now.
It's just on the go. It's on the go from 7 o'clock when we wake up with the kids till 10, 11 o'clock at night. Once the kids go to bed, we're still on our laptops working, whether or not it's doing, organising a festival for the drug and alcohol testing, doing something for the laundry, getting some machinery in from Europe where we've got to speak with Europe, which is, different time zone, and we've got to be up to make phone calls, taking someone to a basketball game or the other one to a soccer game, or organising play dates so that they maintain and have a friendship group as well, trying to fit in gym, Pilates, or a dinner with even our friends. It's really hard.
Yeah.
It's hard.
Lifestyle to me is really important. I touched on that previously, and I noticed that the times that, I mean, when you've got kids and you've got businesses, it's very hard to also maintain a relationship. And maintaining a relationship is very hard when you've got 9 to 5 and you're spent on all the work and all the things that you're doing. You sometimes forget about the relationship that you've got with the partner you started. When Leigh and I come to Bali, especially, and we have for all the years, we actually have the opportunity to spend really good quality time together. We'll go to a beautiful restaurant. We'll go to a really cool day club. We'll go and see really good people. And we have more social life here than we have anywhere else. We have a real good social life here where we've still got the kids come. They also have a babysitter that we feel comfortable with. They can spend time with. They bring their kids over. They socialize. But most importantly, we have our connection. The other thing is one thing is about life is being multicultural. Multicultural to me is one of the most key things I want to be able to teach my kids is how to connect with people from different backgrounds. When my little girl comes here, she connects with Indonesian kids and who are from very poor backgrounds, very poor upbringings. And she can really see how hard it is to make ends meet for those kids. And that's one thing that I want her to always have inside so that she can, when she goes back home, really understand what it's like to have money and really have understanding of how hard it is to actually make something of yourself and have that drive and ambition to have and make the most out of the time that she's got in her life. And that's something that's really important when you get to take your family to these environments. You get to see, granted, you see Westerners and you see other people from Western cultures, but you also see very poor kids on the street, people begging for money, people working so hard for a monthly wage just to live. That is something that I've always wanted to teach my kids, how to be able to talk with other people and communicate and connect with other societies. That's what I love about being here.
Yeah. And in terms of what do you think of, the kids back home at Melbourne? I grew up in Melbourne. Luckily, I was in the same situation where, I come from a Vietnamese background. So for me, I always went to Vietnam, right? Back there. So I knew my grandmothers, my grandma, grandpa, and, the kids on the block, right? Over there, every sort of summer that I'd get there. But what do you think the kids are like sort of today? That's so important for you to, bring awareness, and we're still in, little AZ or little Ashton. What do you see the kids of today like that you've had to sort of make that choice?
Look, I think in a way we're lucky. The school they attend is very multicultural. So both our kids have a lot of Chinese friends, South American friends, and, friends from all different backgrounds that go to the school. So it's not white privilege. It's not, they seem to be able to assimilate with everyone that they meet. I think going to festivals, and I've been going to festivals for 30 or whatever years, the kids or the teenagers of today are entitled, privileged. They have no idea about working hard, struggling. I think that's a real problem because I see it. I'm trying not to have my kids see it or grow up like that. But reality is with social media and having to have an iPad as soon as you hit prep these days in Australia, it gears kids towards that way of becoming entitled or becoming privileged. So we are like the breakup of coming here, getting back to reality, getting back to some normalization of seeing how the other half live in Bali. And I'm hoping to keep doing that, which is why we want to keep coming here. But we've got to be very mindful that they're growing up in a society that's completely different to how we grew up.
Yeah, and I guess, do you have something to say?
Yeah, and also look, when you come to Bali, when you're in a warm environment, a lot more than the environment that I'm normally from, you want to eat healthy and you want to be healthy and you want to think about looking after yourself and buying the right foods and eating the right things. And the one thing is I think I eat more fruit and veggies and all that stuff, and my kids are eating more of that here than they would at home. I noticed that the produce and a lot of the things that you buy day to day aren't really the same as what it used to be. And the same as even disconnecting with iPads and the way people are communicating. Social media and right now is really changing the DNA of what people perceive what life is all really about. You get to see the Joneses, what the Joneses have, and this person sees what they're, then I can make money online and don't have to get out of my house and do all of that stuff. Yes, I respect all of that in today's society. But the one thing is it's very hard to teach a new generation who's only seeing that in today's day and age. I really want to be able to show my kids there's more to life than sitting on a pad, which is what most kids are doing now. And that is something it's hard to show. When you come to these environments, you get to see that there's different things about and a different way of life, what life is actually really about. Connecting with people, sharing stories, sharing the great opportunities with people about where they've come from, their backgrounds, how to communicate with them.
So I took my family out, I think it was 2018, and I wanted them to experience the same thing. I've already was traveling myself. I was like, wow, it opens your mind. And I had my youngest brother, and he was 16 at the time, and he was like the baby of the family. So he was always wrapped around my mum's leg, and I was like, really want him, while he's on this travel journey, I want him to get away from my mum's leg, be more independent, this, that. So as we was traveling, I was showing him how to book the flights. When we get off the flight, how to get to our hotel, how to do this, how to do that, like the whole thing. And, there's one time I had to leave the family for a little while. And yeah, he picked up and he done everything. And then he went back home. And like you say, there's things he can't learn back home. But here they can learn that stuff. So he went home, he put his head down. He didn't want to go to do the college thing and that. And I said to him, until you know what you want to do, do what you need to do. So he went and worked, saved so much money because he had a goal. He was like, yeah, I want to travel. Saved his money, and he went traveling for, I think, six months. Then he got a job in Bahrain. It was in Bahrain. So he's just gone back home for Christmas, and he should be going to Turkey. So and he's like, with me, he's like, when I look at him, I'm like so proud of him. Because I'm like, because that's what I wanted. I wanted to open up his mind. I want to show him that there's more to life than the little bubble that we've been brought up into.
Easy. Opposite as well.
Yeah. I mean, even when he was at home, like it wasn't really like, I used to be out on the streets a lot. Yeah. He was more one of the new kids where they stay at home and on the games and the internet and stuff like that. So I was really worried about where he's going, and that travel thing really changed it upside down. And now he's just a different boy from the rest of them, and that's what I wanted. So I'm like really proud. So it's great to hear what you're trying to do the same thing. So yeah.
So tell us about your two kids. Anyways, what are they like?
Well, a mini version of me and a mini version of Dave. Look, I'm actually. I know a lot of people are biased about their kids, but I'm proud of both my kids. They've got personalities, and I think that's very hard to teach anyone. Some people just are not born with that ability to engage or talk to people or, enjoy their own company. And both of my kids can quite happily meet anyone and start chatting to them, and it doesn't matter what background they're from or what school they go to or who their parents are. They treat them like they're a family member, and by the end of the day, they're huggy and they don't want to leave each other. And I love that about them. And I think they get a lot of that friendliness and openness from Dave, obviously. I'm a lot more, I think, reserved in that sense of I like to, I guess, not judge. That's probably the wrong word, but I like to assess someone first, and then once I feel comfortable or I like to get to know them, I probably then let my guard down a lot more, whereas Dave's like friendly from the first that, and both my kids are like Dave in that sense. They're intelligent. Aisling's 8 years old. She's, a pocket rocket. She's winning awards at school. She's in grade 3 coming into 2025. And, you know, she got diagnosed with celiac disease just over 12 months ago. And we knew that something was up with her. She was small in stature, not that we're giant people, but, you know, in terms of personality-wise, we just knew something wasn't right. She was very tired all the time. We have an amazing doctor back home who we love, and he was very thorough in getting some tests done for her, and she was diagnosed with celiac disease in November 2023. And since then, changing the diet, changing just a few things that the dietitian had told us that we needed to do. She's a completely different person, much more focused personality. She's not tired anymore. So she has completely in 12 months excelled at school and with friends and in sport. You know, she didn't have the energy to play any sport. She's now, you know, won her first medal in a basketball team at school, and she's doing tumble class and everything else, you know, to keep herself busy. And so we've really seen that change in her. And Ashton, he's just somewhere in this house. But he's just full of energy, and as for the morning, as soon as he gets up, he's just nonstop. So very different kids, same personalities, but very friendly. And yeah, we loved them. We're very proud of them.
Yeah, look, one thing is both my kids have definitely taken something on that I'm more proud of than anything, and that is both of them have enormous hearts. They are two kids who actually just love life and love everything. They always smile. They always, and that's not me just saying that because they're my kids. The one thing that I want my kids to have are big hearts for people, really care about one another, really get to know people and really get to the core of people and support them. And my kids, I can tell you, have really taken that on more than anything. They have such big hearts and they're such good kids around those things. But the one thing is my little girl, especially, she's got personality plus. There is nothing more that I could say about her. She's got a personality that just brings out the smiles in anyone that's around her.
Yes. You know, there's AZ here, super cute. What's your name?
Aisling.
Perfect. And so now you're going to make that transition. You're in progress to make that transition from Melbourne to Bali. Maybe not a full one, I don't know. But yeah, sort of walk me through your thought process, right? Because she's still in school. I think Ashton's still in school as well. You know, what have you thought? What does that look like for you?
If the kids weren't at school and they weren't doing as well and they weren't in such a good school and they are now, we would be already here full time. But until in the meantime, we're going to buy a property here next year, and we're going to have 4 or 5 times a year where we're here, and we will be here for a month's periods of time, and we will spend time here and fly in and out during the school holiday and holiday periods. I think buying here is great value for what you're buying. I think there's great opportunity in the growth here. Granted, I don't want to rent this place out and just have it on our own, but if I chose to do that, the rental income well and truly exceeds the cost of purchasing and all of that stuff. The returns are very clear. It doesn't matter in a property in Melbourne. If you bought a property for $700,000 Australian, you might be able to rent it out for $600 to $700 Australian a week. If you buy that same property here in Bali, you could rent it out for $700 or $800 a day. So over a year, that turnover well and truly exceeds any rental or income from an investment property than you would in Australia. So to me, that's a no-brainer. But I'm doing it more so that I've got a place that I can call a holiday house and spend that time with my kids so that we can reset 4 or 5 times a year. Spend the time together that you wouldn't normally have at home. Really go and connect and spend that time with the family so that we really remember what having a family is about. when you have kids and you're stuck in the day-to-day and stuck in the life or whatever, you don't always have that opportunity to really have that connection time with your kids. You're on the go with work, or you're on the phone with this, or you're running to do this or do that. I run 3 businesses. Some weeks I can take 100 phone calls. That is no joke. I can be on the phone, I can be doing it. But the one thing is connecting with my kids. That time I'll never be able to get back. My parents were both successful in their own rights, but they also had limited time with where they could spend their time with me. And that is something that I will not ever break now with my kids, because that is more important to me than anything else.
Yeah, I guess, you know, you have to be aware of that you have to be aware, or something must have happened. You know, what was was there sort of a turning point or a revelation at one point, back in Melbourne, you were like, I don't have time with my kids. Was that sort of the case with you, or?
I think for both of us, but I lost my brother 6 years ago. He was 41 when I was 39. And I think, we were very close. Dave obviously losing his brother-in-law, that made me realize that life's too short and that you don't know what's around the corner or how long you're going to be here for. And I think we sat and looked at ourselves and we saw our life, and it was easy and we had money and we were doing whatever we wanted, but were we happy? Probably not, or not, were we as happy as what we know we can be? So that was a massive change for me. And I won't ever put anything above my children. They'll always be here. And if I have to sacrifice everything to make sure I give them the life and spend every moment with them and give them as much opportunity as they can to be the best that they can be, we'll do that. But we also, I think, in learning, when you're dealing with grief, which we have a lot, I think it puts a lot of things into perspective about what changes we need to make and what's important.
Mm.
And that was probably one of the biggest turning points for us.
Yeah, was that moment for you as well?
That definitely pushed one side for me. That is definitely one side that has definitely been an eye-opening experience for me. The one thing that I will add to that is I've seen a lot of people unwell in my life. I've seen family members very close to me being unwell. And I noticed that, when you're busy in your world and you've got so much going on, if you don't give back to your, what I call the well, and you don't give back to yourself, and you don't give back to building, your inner body of looking after yourself, eating well, training, being in sunshine, doing all that stuff, then that always scared me that I would become unwell, or I would be not around for my kids. And that, everyone has their own health scares. I've had family members pass away from health scares. I've had family members who've been unwell their whole life. And, you only live once. You really only live once. And for me, the wake-up moment for me is that you need to give back to yourself, and we need to stop regularly to reset. One of the, when I go away out of Melbourne or out of Australia, it's the only time in my life that I get a bird's eye view of my life, where I really take myself out of the situation, and I really then, when I'm away, think about all the things that I'm doing right and doing wrong, so that when I come back, I bring a lot of that back with me, and then that re-energizes that next period of my life for me. And I know that, if you've only got one human life, and if you don't look after yourself and you don't give back, you don't keep fit and healthy, and you don't have a good mantra, then you get nowhere. One other thing I'll add to that is that for me, I have a lot of drive. One of the things that I've always thought that separated me from other people is that I'm an extremely driven human being. That I would separate driver. My main characteristic is my love and share of people, but I've got a hell of a lot of drive. I can be as tired and blue in the face and I can be wound down, but I will get back up and I will keep fighting and I'll keep working harder and I'll keep building something. But there's also a point, there's only so much pushing you can do, that if you don't take some time out to do your reset regularly and you don't have that time out, which is where I get from coming to Bali and getting away, then I notice myself not being able to get through those motions of the time.
Yeah. So, you mentioned, Leigh, you were mentioning before, when you asked the question, were you really happy, right? Let's say if your brother didn't pass away, you wouldn't have had that moment. So just for sort of viewers, anybody sort of listening, right, that might be stuck in that grind, like how do they be aware of, a situation?
I think if something major happens in anyone's life, it does, most people, probably 90% of people, makes you think about reality. Where am I at? Oh my God, could that happen to me? You wouldn't be human if you didn't think like that, right? But I think if I hadn't had that moment of grief, I don't think we would have stopped. Like we were just on like this, like there was no stop button for us. It was like, right, I've got to do this. I've got this job today. We're going to have kids. We're going to think about this. I had kids late. I had her at 38. That's late really in this day and age, but not so much in this day and age because women are choosing to have kids later in life. I was lucky that we had them naturally and no IVF or anything like that we've had to go through. So, we were very lucky, and I feel like I had this amazing life and did everything that I had a great job. Before I met Dave, I was very high up in the corporate world. So I got to travel, met Dave, we traveled still, wasn't really thinking about kids, got married late. Okay, then we're like, well, we've got a house, we've got businesses. Do we have kids? Well, let's try it, yeah? And it happened, right? So,
how did you try it?
that's a different question. But, and I think so we've kind of done things in the reverse. A lot of people had children young, then their kids are older by the time you're our age. And are they then still connected? I've seen so many of our friends that have divorced at this age because their kid's 20 years old. They've got nothing else in common anymore. So it's a real like sliding doors moment as well, right? So we've just gone the opposite. We've had them late. We set up our lives first to be able to give them the life that they've got. But we've now had things happen in our life that we also want to give ourselves that life. Because I don't want to have to keep working until I'm 65 and then live off a retirement that I'm not going to enjoy because I might be sick or I might have a sore, I might need a knee replacement. I want to enjoy my life now while we're able with all of our friends and family, not when I'm at retirement age and I don't have the ability then. I think I'm not saying the way we've done it is perfect, but it's working for us. And we've had things happen that have made us take a step back and we look at our life from above. And we've had to make those changes. So I don't think if we did, I don't think that we'd still be going. And it's just like become a robot because life's like it's like Groundhog Day. You don't want it to be like that.
I kind of heard you like talking about earlier because I always look at it's the rat race. Everyone's in the rat race. Go, 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 go. And you was talking about earlier, you were together, but then most people would have kids at a young age. And then the life revolves around the kids, then they lose out on the relationship between them two. And I think that's just as important. And I heard you was talking about earlier about coming out here, the kids can have a babysitter so you two can go out and spend that quality time that you need. Going back, I'm going to use a bit of my story here, but it's like my mum and dad, their life resolved around kids. So it's like, when I was getting ready to leave the nest, it's like, what did they do? Yeah. What did they do? Yeah. And it then did itself for another podcast. But yeah, it's great hearing you say the same kind of thing. It makes you think.
And one thing that I want to touch upon is you had kids quite late, right? 38. I mean, that's normal now.
I think it's a normal age. You know? I mean, I'm 42, so when I heard that, I was like, shit.
I mean, it is normal now, right? People sort of delaying it because they want to get in their career and
More expensive now.
correct.
Right? So people need to be more established, I think.
Yeah, I wanted to understand why you specifically, Leigh, like delayed it till 38. Like, what was your reason? Was it the same as the kids now? Because we're in a different environment. I've got different problems.
Yours? Well,
I loved my career. I loved having the freedom. I mean, back then I did a lot more for myself. I had a lot more time for myself. And I didn't really go out wanting to get married either. I was happy being single, and I traveled and I did the Kentucky tours, and I did all of those kind of things. I had long-term relationships. And then, I met Dave. I'm 5 years older than Dave. He was 23 when I met him. I was 28. And he was in Melbourne. I was in Sydney. And somehow we stuck with each other, made it work. And it wasn't until we built a life together and I was like, oh, well, maybe I do want to get married and maybe I do want to have kids. And I was so, whether, it could have worked out the opposite. I might not have been able to get pregnant. I don't know where that would land us now, to be honest. Would we be missing something? Probably, because they're the best thing that's happened to us. So I still think what if, but I didn't grow up wanting, I'm not a motherly person, I don't think. And so that was not my number one priority, was to get married and have kids. But yeah, doing it late, I think, was the best choice for us.
what was you like at the beginning? Did you have that in your mind, like you wanted kids?
I did always want to have kids. Kids to me is the natural next extension of who you are. And that's not me wanting to have something that's replicated what I am. But having kids to me, I loved my sibling relationships that I had. And I also wanted to have kids that had that sibling relationship who could bring a new generation in, that they could share great moments together. Look, for me personally, I love kids. I really love being around them. I'm a born and bred child. You can't take that part out of me. So well and truly being around kids is just being around me, because I'm a child. And that is, and so like we had a cat at the early stage, and I love him. He was my first child, and that made me even remind me that, yeah, I could do this. There'll be a different person than a cat, but like that's something that I really wanted. I love seeing. I mean, at the start, being a dad, I think it's hard. Being a dad, it scares you to have kids, because you always want the best out of your kids, obviously. But for dads in today's day and age, it is, I think, one of the hardest eras ever to have children. You have to be, as social media is being more prevalent in people's life, you have to be the breadwinner. You have to be hands-on. You have to connect with your children. You have to be able to be available for sport. You have to be able to be there for your kids in everywhere. My family, especially my dad worked his whole life, but didn't have any connection time with us because he was always working. He was always working during the day. He was always working at night. And I didn't have as much of that connection time with him. And that is something that's always stuck with me, that I wanted to make sure that I had with my kids. I wanted to be able to have that time where I could have the freedom to spend that time with them. And look, kids are something that, did I ever think I was going to have them? You know what? Considering the loving relationship that we had, it was obviously the natural progression. I do know people now who don't have kids at a later age, and I've seen some of those dynamics, and I'm happy that that's not me, because I see it being in a relationship that where you love someone, not having to be able to share that life and share. It's lonely. It's hard. It gets. Well, there's only so much dining with, out together you can do without having kids around. There's only so much you can, go on holidays and take photos of all the great Instagram things you want to do. There's only so much of that you can really do, because the connection now is the next generation. And also, I want to be able to pass on great times. I want to be able to pass on great times. And as I said before, I'm a child. I want to hang around more of them. I mean, having a child that I can wake up to, probably the best part of my day. And honestly speaking, the best part of my day, 7 days a week, is the fact that the minute that I open my eyes, I've got 2 kids bolting from the bedroom that are come and give me the biggest hugs in all time. I don't even think I've got any air left. They're squeezing that much air out of me. And that's something that you can never, ever, ever replace with all the money and all the businesses and all the flashy lifestyles, cars, food, whatever. That is something that is the best part of my day. That sets my day up for the rest of the day.
So all kind of comes down to time. Having that time, that's the main thing.
Chance, because it doesn't sit still, keeps going, and that we will, have more time come into 2025 because we have sold one of the businesses, and we're looking forward to not having that to deal with anymore, and that'll allow us to focus on the other 2 businesses and a lot more time on the kids.
There's a lot of parents that I see that I go every morning to every pick up and drop off with Leigh. We're the only parents that are there every single day together.
Wow.
Most of all of the other parents that are there is mostly all the wives, and very randomly you'll see the male there. Every single morning, in the morning, pick up and drop off, Leigh and I there holding hands and going together. And that is the second best part of my day, is that time that I get to spend with them and do that. And I see a lot of the other males, and I'm not picking males particularly, but a lot of them aren't there to be there for their kids in the morning and afternoons. And seeing them in the morning and afternoons, that's what makes me work even harder between the hours of the short period that I've got between dropping off and picking up. That is the special times of the day. And that's what makes me want to work hard. And that's what drives me to be better. And that's what drives me to look after things and look after myself and have a great life together and work hard so I can go on great holidays. This is actually the 3rd holiday we've been away together. 3rd holiday this year, and it's not the end of the year. 3 holidays. Now, you tell me how many other families go on 3 international holidays a year and get to spend that time together.
Very rare.
Very rare. Well, look, next year we'll probably aim to do that 4, and then the next year we'll aim to do that 5. And that's my draw to being here. And that's why I want to buy here. And that's why I want this lifestyle here. The geographic location makes it even easier. It's a 5-hour flight. It's like being on a domestic plane.
So yes, that's brilliant. I want to get back. So there's one particular part you said that, when you had kids, right? You had 3 businesses as well, right? When you decided you wanted to have kids, like what did it look like on the business end? Because you already had no time.
2 businesses then.
Yeah.
The 3rd business really was born through COVID because the other 2 businesses couldn't really operate, right? Well, one could, the laundry, but 80% of the business was gone because places were closed. So, we had a mortgage still during COVID. We had bills to pay. Yeah, we were sitting at home. We were in Melbourne, so that was the longest lockdown that we had to have in the world. So David, being the brain that he is, thought of having a consultancy business, and he was able to do that. That was born through COVID, and we both worked on that. And he was able to still help people in other states, in Brisbane, who didn't have as hard lockdown laws and things like that, helping other people with their laundries. So doing that online consulting, bringing in machines for them. So that was born. The third business was born because the other two had a quiet period during COVID. And so it was quite easy. We had the second child during COVID as well. So I was able to have that time with him at home because I couldn't go anywhere else. So we were able to, I think, have that third business for thrive. And it made it a little bit easier to COVID sucked for all of us, but we kind of enjoyed it because we had a newborn anyway. You don't leave the house with a newborn. And we were able to run an online business and work from that. So everything's kind of fallen into place for us.
Yeah, look, being able to adapt in situations is probably one of the most telling characteristics of a human being.
Mm-hmm.
Because being able to adapt in any situation is what makes and breaks people. When your businesses are flying and things are great, yeah, cool, that's all easy. But when the chips are down and you don't know which way to turn, that's what makes or breaks a man, and that's what makes or breaks business, and that's what makes and breaks family. For me, when I saw what COVID impact did to businesses around Australia, and especially my businesses that I was doing, I had to find a way to innovate. And the thing is being able to innovate was a way to start something that I was also passionate about, that was a back burner, that ended up really showing me that the skill set that I had acquired from all the years of running business was actually well and truly instilled in me. And having when your chips are down, and let me tell you, one thing you notice when you're locked down in COVID, and Melbourne had the greatest lockdown of all cities in all countries around the world, one thing I noticed is that when you are trying to still run a business and have kids at home that are actually actively in that environment, when you are trying to focus on that, it made you realize that you have to then be able to have your time with the business and also your time with your kids. That is one of the most COVID, when you're locked in an environment together, you get cabin fever. Kids get cabin fever. You can't lock down kids and tell them to be stuck in one environment and then not expect them to want to climb the walls and go nuts and all that. I was already climbing the walls. I was already being that. I'm like a kid in a cage. I was already ready to jump out the windows. But let me tell you, the one thing about adapting is what separates the men from the boys in business. And that is something that has instilled in me about being able to adapt to environments. Being able to adapt to an environment is when things aren't going right, and build something special.
We've been thrown a lot of curveballs, and I think we've always handled it. You know, put the heads together. Right, this has happened. I think we're really good problem solvers, because we've had to be, and we've had a lot of shit thrown at us, or things that have happened that you don't, most people wouldn't have that tragedy or grief or whatever happened to any of some people in a lifetime. Lucky for them. But we've had a lot thrown at us at one time, and we've had to we could have easily gone the opposite way and just went, well, I can't do this anymore, and I want to be depressed, and I can't live without my brother in my life, or whatever. And but we've had business issues thrown at us. We've had COVID thrown at us. We've had death thrown at us. Family issues, and we've just had to deal with it. And I think I think we've had to, well, that's probably a good pat on the back for us, because what people see us and they're like, why do you like, how do you get through that? And we had, it's been bloody hard
Together.
but we've got through it together.
Simon, you touched on something earlier that we chatted about, and you mentioned something about having the mindset to be able to hold and be strong in all environments and situations. And I know we were chatting about that before this, and sorry to bring it up again, but mindset is something that you need to be able to understand to not be able to break. And once I mentioned before about drive, having that mindset that doesn't matter what gets thrown at you, that is something that makes who you are. And you can get thrown over the curveballs. You can get hit down. I can get hit down all the time. People go, how the hell are you getting out of bed? Like, I get up like it's another day of the week, because it doesn't matter if your chips are up or your chips are down, and that shouldn't change. Having drive and ambition to make something better of yourself is exactly the thing that I want my kids to pick up on me. Because it doesn't matter if one day they lose all their money, or they lose their partner, or someone dies, or it doesn't matter what it is. I want them to have that spirit, that thing, that burning inside them that wants to make something of themselves. And that's something that should not change. Doesn't matter where or who you are, or it doesn't matter whatever happens to you.
Yeah, look, it seems like you both, strong-minded, just really, really strong mindset. Now, you mentioned like not everybody does have that. I guess, you essentially like a power couple that just work, right? Which is fantastic. And I think you're in a lucky position to have, to found your partner early on, right? What advice could you impart now that you're knowing where you are now, that may not, maybe they don't have a strong relationship, right? Like, but they can, I guess, achieve some sort of freedom, right? What advice could you sort of give to them?
I can easily answer that for you. You said something just before, and you said the word luck. And let me tell you, luck has nothing to do with it. Luck has nothing to do with it. You've got to want things in this world. You've got to want to make something of yourself. You need to have ambition. You need to get off the couch. You need to find those people. You need to go and do those things. If you're passionate about something, you will make it happen. If you were smoking cigarettes and you want to quit, and you really want to quit, you will do it, because you've got to have that to want to do something. Luck didn't make who I am. Luck made none of it. All I did was I gritted, I worked hard, I dug deep, and I kept finding my ways through things. And I kept wanting more in my life. And I wanted to bring that into my life. That has nothing to do with it. Luck is zero in my opinion. Yeah, okay, great. Luck is happy, but luck is nothing of what I've done in my life. Luck is you make your own luck.
I'm so happy that you said that. I have this discussion with so many people about luck, that there's no luck. It's like, for things to happen, it's because I took action. Yeah. And that's why something came from. They'd be like, yeah, but it was lucky that you bumped into that person. I was like, no, I was out. Yeah. Because I was out, that's why I would jump into that person. But something I asked him what happened.
I didn't manifest it either.
Yeah. The way you said that, I was like, yeah, so many people need to hear that, because I bang heads with people and where they're like, they believe in luck. I'm like, there's no luck in here. So it's a man-made thing. But yeah.
Meeting people by chance is one thing, but the being able to receive what people are saying is another thing. They always say God gave you 2 ears and a mouth for a reason, and that's so you can listen twice as hard as you talk. You've got to be able to receive what people are saying to you. Take that inside and actually comprehend what people are giving in this world. It's all well and good for me to sit on a camera today and tell you all about my life, but I actually quite like listening to everyone else's. I'm more interested in listening to the other podcasts on this thing, because those stories are what inspire me. Other people's stories. My story's good, but I'm one of a million stories. I'm a story in the cog of a billion stories, but listening to everyone else's stories, that's what inspires me. I saw a reel on this thing before of this podcast, and I thought, wow, there's a guy I really relate to. There's a guy I really can see something that I really relate to. And I pick up a little bit of this and I pick up a little bit of that. And I take that in and that re-inspires me all over again. You know what? Someone talked about their story and their family bringing them into Bali. And I'm like, you know what? I can relate to that. That's exactly what it is. And the most thing is I appreciate feeling that, yes, I've made something of my life and whatever, and I've got a great thing and we've got great kids. But what inspires me is people. When I get older, there's only one thing that I want to do. Once I'm old and retired and whatever, and my kids have moved on, I want to be able to turn around and spend my whole life working in charities so that I can give back to society, so that I have enough means so that I don't have to worry about my income and teach about giving back. I want to be able to give back to society because society's given so much to me. It's given me the strength to get me to where I was. And that is something that I want to do with the rest of my life. I don't want to make more money. Money's boring. Money makes no interest. I make money during the week and it's like, yeah, cool, you've made money. You made another X amount of dollars this week, you made whatever. I'm like, yeah, cool, no worries. But what inspires me is the people that I've drawn in and be able to bring somebody into teaching them something about life or teaching them something about, about my experiences that will help them grow in them things. Not here's money, take it and do something with it. I want to inspire people to dig inside here and find a way to make something for themselves. There's not money that grows on trees and gets given things and shared out and all that stuff. It ain't luck. It's ain't luck. They talk about, I know a guy who's working in a charity right now. He's working in a charity that teaches in Thailand, that teaches kids how to manage and run their own businesses from really poor backgrounds. They teach them about buying a product or starting. All the kids have to come up with their own ideas and they bring it into a school and they learn every week about how to understand business. And after the kids get to a point and they've passed the whole school thing, then they invest free into that business to give the kids the money for free so that they can run their own business because then they're ready. And that's something that's always inspired me. I want to be able to do that when I'm older. I want to be able to give that. And the other thing I want to be able to do, because when I'm older and the money's not a thing and I don't have to worry about chasing anything, I'm going to be able to ring up my little kids and say, hey, what are you doing today? And they're going to, oh, we're not doing much. I say, great, pack your bags. You're on a plane to Bali and I'll see you in a few hours. Come stay at the place. Come in and out wherever you want. You want to travel? Here's your tickets. Here's your stuff. Bring your friends. Let's have everyone over. That's the times I want to be able to spend with when I'm kids, when I'm older. I want to have a relationship with my kids right now so that they know what it's like having a relationship with me so that when I'm older, all they want to do is still spend time with me.
Do you want to spend time with Daddy?
Yes.
Even when he's older?
Yes.
Fantastic. And then just about that charity and that altruistic side of it, was it a point, you've been quite successful and whatnot. Have you always been charitable or did something spark that in you?
My family has always been part of charities at somewhere along the lines. Yes, they do stuff that's very different than what I would like to be doing. But it's not the charity. And I want to go back to the charity aspect of it. I don't want to do charity. I want to give. I don't want to give. I don't want charity. I just want to give. I want to be able to give to people and be able to give from my ideas and be able to share my stories that inspire them. And I want to be able to teach them how to be good people and teach them how to love community and how to love, the human nature and be multicultural and associate with other people. I want to be able to give to people and actually give some inspiration that might make something of them. Being the word charity is just sometimes just, oh, well, I'm giving to this charity, or giving them money enough, so I'm a good person. That to me is not charity that I want to do. I want to do the charity that I can teach them how to box.
You want to be hands-on.
I want to teach them how to box. I want to teach them how to, be fit and healthy.
Funny enough, what I'm looking actually, I mean, this is going to be published in a couple months, but we're actually doing something over here next year with the boxing, with the kids, with the charity thing actually. So, yeah, we were talking off the camera, but yeah, it's good. When I heard you saying that, I was like, wow, you know, awesome. Okay, take that back over to you, Dave.
Yeah, no, that's all good.
Giving to charity is one thing, but able to teach kids and teach people things and be able to do that for them is something that it doesn't matter about the money that I've got in my back pocket to give to someone to throw at a charity. It's about actually being able to share and teach them things and be a part of their lives. I've seen kids, been able to give a kid in Bali. I've been paying for her English education here for a while now, and I came back to Bali just now, and she can now start speaking English. And that's something. Yes, okay, I paid for it because I wasn't here to be able to do it, but now I'm communicating with her. So that's the net result of it. Not that fact that I've given her money; it's the fact that now I can start talking to her about, you know, how her day was and how was school today, and seeing that, bringing that out of a child is the most amazing feeling.
Yeah, I think change, being a part of change, because like you said earlier, anyone can give some money. Sometimes we don't even know where that money goes, you know, but being in it, you know, being a part of that change, I mean, I started doing charity work for quite a while, but I've done a bigger project a few years ago in the Philippines, which most people know me for, but it was actually, so I had one of my mentors years ago said to me, there's rich in wealth and there's rich in life. He said, understand the two, and it will change your life. Or he said something. And I was like, yeah, I understand it, you know, rich in life, rich in wealth. And then there was one day that I was working on a rubbish dump site with thousands of kids there. And I'm walking down this rubbish dump site, and you know, you got this is a rubbish dump site, so where all the rubbish gets dumped off, the smell is like something different. So every time you get to a different corner, expect a different smell. So, you know, I'm walking around, got my kids holding my hands or holding my t-shirt. And as I'm about to turn, I'm getting ready for the smell. And then bang, it hit me. I was like, oh my God, I understand what you said now. Yeah. Rich in life, rich in wealth. I had like £20 in my pocket, my phone and my key. That's it. And I got the kids with me. But I felt like I was the richest man alive. Yeah. And it was that moment there that really changed my life. Like, because I was always, you know, a money getter. I was always trying to chase money, trying to build that stuff. But yeah, it's really, really changed something in my life. And I was, it was that whole thing of rich in life. And I felt like I was the richest man alive. But yeah, I only had £20 in my pocket and a phone and my keys. You know.
That smile gave you
I used to wake up in the morning. In England, I used to wake up in the morning and be like, pull the curtains, grey sky. No, that's how I start my mornings. But it's like, I wake up in the morning, 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, yes. Yeah. I run down. I'm looking for the kids. Where's the kids? Where's the kids? Where's the kids? You know. And I'm going on this rubbish, dirty, smelliest place. And I'm like, but I was just so happy. And then that's when, you know, I've kind of found happiness beforehand, but there's always levels to happiness. And that was like a different level of happiness. And I was like, wow, I got, you know, at this time is that even though I was making money from my business, but I didn't need my money there. You know, I'm living at the most lowest there, but I felt like I was the most richest, king of the world. Like, and yeah, I was just happy to wake up in the morning. It was the best feeling ever. So
hearing that story is amazing because it resonates a lot with me. I know a lot of people that I know in my life, older generation people who have all the money and all the means in the world, and they have more money than they know what to do with. But they are the most miserable people, bitter, twisted, unhappy, because the one thing that they were missing is an experience like you've just had, is something that enriched their life, that knew how to draw back on that and remind themselves of why they have the life that they have.
Yeah.
And remind them to say, you know what? The best part was that journey. Because at the end of the day, they're going to die one day and they're going to pass on. And at the end of the day, you want to know, what do you want to be remembered for? Do you know what I want to be remembered for? 2 things. The one thing I want to be remembered for is that whatever I did, I want to know that my kids absolutely love me. That doesn't matter what happens to me, that my kids absolutely love me. That's just the first thing. And the second thing isn't the money that I've got in the bag. It's what I did for other people and what I shared with other people and the experiences. Everyone I've ever bought a present for, I've barely ever bought a physical present for someone in my life. Do you know what I do? I take them on experiences. I take them on times out together. I share those times. Most of the presents and things that I'll ever do with anyone, I don't believe in materialistic things. I believe in sharing times with people, taking them away on a holiday to experience something, taking them on an excursion somewhere, taking them to a music festival, getting them to see things about life. That's what I want to do and be remembered me for. I want to be remembered for the photo I took at a great place with them at a time that we shared together. I don't want to be remembered for how much money I have in the bank because no one gives a shit about that. And I don't want my kids to think that way. I want my kids to remember that we had such a great time at all those times in Bali together. We were in Europe or Singapore or Thailand or whatever it is, that we shared a great experience here.
Not sitting at home looking at a Christmas tree full of presents right now. And that's what it was for the first 6 years or whatever until we thought last year, no, we're coming to Bali. And
No.
no, it's not happening. It's not about the unwrapping millions of presents and you play with it for 3 seconds and it's all we're bored because that's what it was. So we wanted to take them on it. We're like, no, next year we'll go to Bali. We did it last year. The first thing we did was get up. They were in the pool the whole day. They didn't care about presents. It wasn't about that last year. That's why we've made this change.
Yeah, I love that. I really, really love what you said there because I tried to sit down with people and someone told me this story. I might have heard it somewhere else, but someone said that, when you're on your deathbed and you might only have an hour to die, are you going to be thinking about the watch you bought, the house you bought, the cars, the clothes? No, you're going to be thinking about what you've done as experiences, where you've been, and the people you met, and the people you met, and the people you got love with. And that's the only thing. And they showed me that at a young age, and I looked and I thought, wow, I looked at most of the people around me, all my friends' parents and stuff like that. I thought, all you lot done is work, 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 work. You might have got one holiday a year if you was lucky. And you work to your late age, and then you're too old to do all the good stuff when you retire. And you'd be lying on your bed and you're thinking, like, what did I actually do? My experiences, because that's with me now is that I'm trying to as many experiences as I can, and I love meeting people. Yeah, you can't take it with you. Someone else is going to prosper out of that. Thank you very much.
Or everyone will come out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
It's actually interesting as well that you say that because you're spot on. But the one thing that also I think about when you say stuff like that is something really simple. Today's day and age, a lot of kids now are seeing life through other people's lives by seeing it on social media, and then that's the way that they have fun, or that their fun is watching someone else do something. Let me tell you, when I was having fun, the last thing I was thinking about is recording myself about the great time I was having, because I was having such a great time that I didn't need to tell everybody else that I was having such a great time on Instagram and showing, oh, look at the dance party or the festival or the place, the monument I was and I was taking a photo telling everyone what a great time I was having. No, because that's not what times and life's about. The life's about the times that you share with people, and those experiences that you have is that you have real life experiences. Today, people just live vicariously through social media, seeing those things about living experiences. But let me tell you, they're not living anything anymore. They've passed believing all of that stuff. They haven't had those experiences. They're going to go and have an experience now, and they're going to taint it by worrying about, are they getting the right photo shot? Are they getting the right view for their stuff? That's boring to me.
It's like being in the present. It's like people are not in the present. There was something on YouTube where they're showing what people was at a concert before. Everyone's like this, and someone took a photo from behind. And there's like a new one now. Everyone's got their phones up. And it's like, you're not in the moment.
They wouldn't even know what they're listening to because they're too worried about how, showing the crowd or showing, it's a real
different world we live in there.
It's funny. Reality is something that Lee's just mentioned just now. And the thing is when you see other people's non-realities on social medias, you get to see the fact that they're not really living what life was supposed to be intended for. It's funny when you go into communities and you see very poor kids without phones, and it reminds you about playing in the backyard together and spending time in the sun together. And do you think they're worried about what they're looking like in their photo for Instagram, on the TikTok app, or selling themselves or their bodies to something in social media to make money? No, they're not. All they're worried about is what their friends are doing for the rest of the afternoon and whether they can play outside all day. That, to me, is what life's about. That is the reset that everybody needs, the real reset.
Yeah, it hit me, right? So, you have to check out some of the videos. But when I was on a rubbish dump site in the Philippines, these people had nothing. Most of them ain't got electric. They ain't got toilets. 80% of the food is coming from the rubbish. What's been there for 2-3 days. I've got videos of people picking it out. But it got me because I'm trying to film videos to show the world for people to help. But you know what's happening? All these kids running around happy. Everyone's smiling. Yeah. I'm like, guys, you're not helping me here. I'm trying to help you, like, help me here, But then after I turned around, I was like, wow. Like, they're happy, like, and then there was people at home messaging me saying, like, you know what, son? I'm moaning about my next door neighbor's dog barking all the time, and I'm watching your kids, like, these people, like, they're so happy. Yeah. And it changed, it opened up people's mind, and that's why, in a way, I was doing it anyway, trying to open up people's mind. Obviously, I want to help with the people, but I'm trying to change people's mindsets on the world that we live in, and it's good what you said there. I like that.
I love what you've just said as well, just following up. You've just said the word mindset and the fact that you saw something and you wanted to make that change and you saw that difference. That's what life's about. Someone, for whatever reason, and don't get me wrong, people communicate through different mediums now, but to see the fact that people have lost the way to communicate by living in a world that doesn't believe, that isn't real, loses those opportunities. You saw something, which is what real life's all about. And that, to me, is amazing. I love hearing that.
It's funny because, like, everyone was always saying to me, like, oh, man, what you done for them kids? Them kids must love you, this, that. I'm like, man, what them kids done for me? Exactly. I said, these kids changed my concept on life because, I was still in the search of happiness, trying to find the meaning of life. And just watching these kids that they got nothing and they was happy and the parents had nothing, but they made do, like, and I was like, wow, it really changed my concept on life and what I thought about. And yeah, these kids really, really, really changed my life. And I was talking to someone the other day about happiness. Because like, a lot of people talk about happiness. So I'm like, yeah, if I took away all your money, where would your happiness be? And I felt like I've reached, because you got levels in life. I feel like I've really reached this level in life. I'm still trying to get a grips of it, but it's like, right now, I've got nothing. People mostly watch my social media, and I always try to say to people that, trust me, I'm at my lowest right now compared to what I was, but I'm still at my happiness. Yeah. I'm so happy. And I think it is because of them, people with the kids, watching them, people how they live, really, really changed my concept of happiness. So, yeah. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. How's your time been in Bali? Amazing.
And, Mum and Dad mentioned before, last year, no more presents, right? It's all about experiences. What are your thoughts on that? Did they make the right decision or?
Yes.
So you're happy without the presents? You'd prefer to Mum and Dad to take you to Bali?
Yes.
Why is that?
Because I like swimming in the pool instead of just opening presents at home and staring at the Christmas tree for the rest of the day. And I like seeing my Balinese friends.
That's really heartfelt. Who's your Balinese friend?
Renata.
Give her a wave.
You want to have a wave? Fantastic. So, now that, you're kind of transitioning, you would have sort of a visual, like a sort of some sort of, goal is probably not the right word, but what's your sort of vision, I guess, like, from now that you've sort of gone through this, and what does that look like in the next 5, 10 years, 20, 30 years?
I think it's about bringing our vision into reality. Like, we're talking about buying a place. Well, now I need to buy it, here. So putting all of our words into actions and starting to have that base here, that we can even on a long weekend in Australia, pack up on a Thursday night, take the 5-hour flight here, spend Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday here, go back to Australia for school to start again. That's what we want. We're not interested in going to the Gold Coast or to Noosa, which is where everyone in Australia goes. We would prefer to come here.
Yeah, perfect. And is that yours? That vision is similar to yours? You share that?
We share the same vision. It's funny, Leigh just mentioned the Gold Coast and Noosa and all those places. During school holidays, they are packed, and they are literally, you rent these little tiny 1 or 2 bedroom hotel rooms or apartments where everyone's on top of each other. You can't, really enjoy yourself. I don't know if we get a chance to show the place that we're staying today, but let me tell you something. There is a pool that's nearly an Olympic-sized swimming pool here, and we've got beautiful views. We've got unbelievably, furnished environments.
Cinema.
Yeah, it's got a cinema room. I've got all the room. I could have 50 people in this place and you wouldn't even know where anyone was. It's a big place. You get to have a villa experience. The villa experience to me is one of the best experiences you can have on a holiday. You've got your own pool. You've got your own rooms. You've got the cleaners come in and out as if it was a hotel. And I can make me feel like I've got a massive place to be, and the kids have got all the place they want. I've got a backyard to kick the footy. I've got everything I need here.
That's perfect. And, do you have any sort of last parting words for anybody that's watching that, you would tell yourself back then, or anybody that's watching that's in a similar situation or may not be in a similar situation to, think about? Right?
Yeah, kicked down, you've got to pick yourself back up again, and you've got to work hard. If you're a part of a relationship or marriage, you have to have the same goals, because if you don't, it's not going to work.
And yourself, do you have any sort of...
Take your notes out.
The one thing I'd say to myself, that if I could, got to have my time again, I would just want to remind myself that life is a long time and a journey, and that whilst you want to have the milestone times where, I want to get to this point and I want to make money when I'm 30 and I want to do this when I'm 40 and whatever, you've got to remember to live in the moment and not live in the future and the tomorrow and whatever else. You've got to live. You live for what's now. You live for what's right in front of you. You live for your moments, because if you don't enjoy the small goals, the small moments, the small steps, then when you get to that next milestone, it's not as fulfilling as you think it is. And once those milestones are hit, you then go, oh, well, what's the next milestone? It's not about that. It's about the journey. It's about the moments. It's about the little steps that I've made. And that is the one thing that I feel like I've had my whole life, but I want to keep always reminding myself to remember the 5 minutes, to not waste the time sitting on my phone, wondering what's happening on Instagram and whatever these things. They're moments that are well and truly gone that I don't want to have in my life. I want to live for the moments that I have right now that I love sharing with everybody.
That's fantastic. Like, it's a really good perspective that you put there that I've never actually thought about, especially you looking at Instagram. Those moments have passed, long past, right? And even possibly recycled, who knows?
Listen, there's a lot of, I'm not one for Instagrams and Facebooks and stuff. Yes, it's a way in today's day and age, unfortunately, to communicate in a lot of ways. It saddens me a lot, because that's where I think human nature's really falling down. Most of the younger generations that I meet don't know how to socialize in a normal social environment. They're on edge. They don't, they've got anxiety. They've got anxiety by talking to people, whatever. That is all built up is because their lifespan living on this. And I like to remind myself of not having that as much in my life. I do my best to stay away from it. And I don't need to post a photo of my great holiday to everyone that I'm having a great time, because I'm having that great time. I don't want to tell everyone about it. They can worry about their own good times. That's their problem, their time. I don't need to get a like on Facebook or Instagram for someone to tell me, yeah, you've got a great place. Look at the place you're staying and all that sort of stuff. That's all in everybody else's head, not mine. I live in today. I live in the moment. I live in the times that I share. That's my times.
Fantastic.
Wow. I really like that, because so many people, just you saying that made me think that unless people get the likes, they're not going to enjoy that time they had.
Well,
So
that wasn't good enough.
yeah,
Didn't get enough likes.
it's like, because it's about what we were talking about earlier, being in the present, being in here and now, and enjoying that time. But it's only going to be good once you get the likes and this attention, because you need that from validation from someone else.
Yeah.
And then when you're saying, I was like, wow, there's so many people. I watched so many people in Bali, and I was like, and even just on social media, I watched something like, what are you trying to prove? Like, what are you gaining? But then it also shows me what mindset these people are in. Yeah, who they are. Yeah, it's like, I'm single, yeah, right? Right? Just put it out there, right? But a lot of girls I do meet, and we exchange contacts. I do ask for the Instagram, and once I look at the Instagram, man, it tells me off. All I see is ching, 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 ching. I'm like, oh yeah, definitely not my cup of tea.
Definitely aren't. It's good though. See, that's a kind of a way of screening.
Yeah. It's a quick way. It's like straight away. I'm like, look at it, I'm like, yeah, you're not for me.
One of the best things you just said there is something called self-validation.
Yeah.
Self-validation is something that is so misguided now. And let me tell you, the way self-validation in today's day and age is I'm going to put a photo of a great time I'm having and worry about how many likes I'm going to get for it. And that's going to validate the moment. And that's another thing, just by chatting to you now, that has actually reminded me of why I stay as much as away as I can of that world. The self-validation point, I'm validated by sharing my times with people and not living about the sharing my times and tell everyone what about it sharing the times with other people.
Right. So anything else, Steve?
Yeah, I think, we've got little AZ here and Ashton running around somewhere, right in the cinema room.
Very good.
Now, this is going to be up. Like, you've been so good to me. We've known each other for a long time. And, I've got to meet your beautiful kids, AZ and Ashton. I love them. They're going to be, I don't know if AZ is going to remember this podcast, but if you had to, have any words for AZ or Ashton, what would you like to sort of say to them so they can look back and see who daddy is and mummy is?
Well, I'd like to just tell them not to change because they're perfect the way they are, but to keep listening and to have a good outlook on life, and to listen to people and everyone that they meet and get enriched from their lives and do their homework.
Did you hear that one, yeah?
No,
What'd you say?
no homework.
There's only two things that I would love to say to them. One is have a big heart. That is number one. Have a big heart for the people in your life. Have a big heart for the people around you, your friends, everything. And the greatest characteristic of a human being is how well you can be yourself. And I just want you to be yourself and not try to get stuck in everything else that's around you. The best thing that you can be, and the greatest and most amazing thing about human nature, is about how well you can be yourself. Just be yourself, have a big heart, and share your life with every culture you can possibly share it with.
Looks like you got something to say, No?
First time.
And also in the morning, give dad a big hug, yeah? because last night when I was here, this morning when I was here, when you're ordering food, it wasn't like that, was it?
Definitely wasn't.
All right, cool. Look, do you have anything else you want to say, or?
Thanks for having us.
My pleasure. Yeah, it's my pleasure. Yeah. Anyways, thanks, guys. Look, it's been a pleasure having you on. Like, I've known him for so long. What is it? Close to 8 years, maybe 9, near 10 years. You know, and I've shared so much experiences with you. And I think you've got me tickets to, who do we see? Macklemore, right? The amount of festivals that we've been to, and coming up this New Year's as well. Unfortunately, not the same one, but yeah, like it's been a pleasure of mine just to even be friends with you. Yeah, it's great. Okay. Anyways.
Thank you.
Guys, yeah, look, thanks for coming on. Until next week, guys, we'll have another guest, but yeah, until then, chat to you guys and have a good one. Bye-bye.